welcome back. I'm Naomi if you're new here. Today I'm going to take you along as I do some fall baking. It's a little bit different, but I am so ready for fall. This heat, oof, it's supposed to be like 92 tomorrow here in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to make 4 recipes. Got cherry crumb bars, small batch cinnamon swirl pumpkin bread, pumpkin oatmeal cookies, and easy pumpkin pie twist. Never made any of these before. So join me in my kitchen today as I make some fall goodies, and again, thank you for being here. Okay, so the first recipe I'm gonna make is the easy pumpkin pie twist. You need crescent rolls. You need pumpkin, brown sugar, maple syrup, pumpkin pie spice. I have my butter melting. You need sugar and cinnamon. So it says to first mix together the pumpkin puree, the brown sugar, maple syrup, and pumpkin spice. So it calls for a half a cup of pumpkin puree. Let me get my spoon. So I'm going to spoon this out real quick. Then it calls for a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So I got a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Then it calls for a tablespoon of maple syrup. I do a tablespoon of maple syrup. Woo-hoo. That was a bit much. That's okay. And then a teaspoon of the pumpkin spice. Try not to get anything in here. Actually take the lid off, it'll be easier. So a teaspoon of pumpkin spice. Then it just wants you to mix this together. That smells really good. Looks like that. Alright, set that there. And then it says to unroll the crescent roll dough on a cutting board, which I'm going to do. And then cut the dough in half so you have 2 identical rectangles and lay them beside each other. I said okay. Okay. It says to spread the pumpkin mixture over one of the rectangle doughs. So let me get something to spread that out after I break up this sugar. Seems like a lot of filling for this, so I'm not sure if I did this right, but I'm sure it's going to be great, so I'm not really worried about it. Now it says, oh, these aren't very good together here. Pinch that together better. It says to move this here on top of this, like so. And then it says to cut with a pizza cutter. All right, so just cut down the middle here. Try to get 5 out of each side. It says to twist. Cut very good. To twist each strip like this and put it on a parchment lined paper or pan, which I have over here. So I'm just going to get these twisted. All right, these aren't very pretty. They smell really good, but I don't think I did the twisting or the rolling out correctly, but that's okay. It'll be delicious. So it says to brush melted butter generously over each twist. So I melted my butter. I'm just gonna go like this. Then it says to mix a tablespoon of sugar with a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of sugar in here. And then take the cinnamon, do a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm just going to give it a quick stir. I did too much. And then it says to sprinkle each twist with cinnamon sugar. I mean, they're not pretty, but they're gonna be good. Then it says to bake these for 8 to 11 minutes each until they're golden brown. And then we'll see what they look like, and we're gonna taste test it too. My boys will be excited. They love pumpkin things, so. All right, I'm gonna put these in the oven for 8 to 11 minutes. Here they are, taken out of the oven. They took 11 minutes. I'm gonna let them cool a bit, and then we'll see what they taste like. Like I said, not the prettiest thing on the block, but man, you should smell it in here. It smells so good. All right, so this is what these look like. And I ripped a piece off. It's like a pumpkin pie donut. Muy bien. That's so good. Like I said, I think I did something wrong when I rolled out crescent rolls. That's okay. They are phenomenal. Give these a try. So those pumpkin twist things were delicious. 4 of them are already gone. My boys like them too. I'm going to make pumpkin oatmeal cookies now, and a lot of this is going into a stand mixer, so I'm going to take you over to my mixer. Okay, so the first thing we do for these cookies is we're going to cream together the butter and the sugar. You need 3/4 of a cup of butter softened. I am using salted butter because that's what I buy. It says unsalted, but I'm just going to add less salt at the end. It's probably like a pinch because this is already salted. So we're going to get 1.5 sticks of butter in here, 3/4 of a cup. And then you add a whole cup of brown sugar and a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And I forgot to put my mixer beater on. Then you get this guy on here. And then you beat this for 2 to 3 minutes until combined and creamy. Now you mix in a cup of pumpkin and you mix this in until you combine this in. Oh, got some on my mixer. That's okay. All right, in a separate bowl, it wants us to combine all the dry ingredients. So I'm gonna do 2 cups of flour, 1 1/4 cups of old-fashioned oats, then it says 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, okay, so a teaspoon of cornstarch. Fun note, I've never used cornstarch in baking, so this is new. A teaspoon of baking soda. And a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And then I'm just going to add a pinch of salt, like I said before, because it's salted butter. So I'm just gonna go like that. And that's it for the dry ingredients. I'm just gonna start with my mixing spoon. I know it's not the right utensil, but it's right there and it's gonna do. So I'm gonna add this now back to the wet ingredients and get this combined. All right, now it says this is nice and mixed. I'm going to do 1 1/2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna guesstimate here, like this. Try to smash it down there. Okay, I'm gonna get these in the oven for 9 to 11 minutes and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. All right, while those are baking, I'm gonna make the icing. I have overfilled this bowl with powdered sugar. There's 1.5 cups of powdered sugar in here and you're supposed to add 2 tablespoons of milk. And 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm just gonna eyeball this like that. I like vanilla. And then you just whisk this together. And then when the cookies are done and cooled a little bit, you just add this to the top. Hopefully this is thin enough. Doesn't feel like it's enough milk to me. Then again, I filled the bowl too much, so. I transferred this to a bigger bowl. I don't think there's enough milk. That's just my humble opinion. So I'm gonna just dash a little bit in here. Like that. I can maybe add half a teaspoon of milk and see if that's better. It says to whisk together, but everything's getting stuck in the whisk. My little one broke. It was so sad. I'll have to get another small one. It still feels thick. Do you drizzle? Let's see. Oh, you dip the cookies. Okay. That won't be happening because I didn't use the right bowl, but let's see. Dip the cookies in the icing or drizzle on top, so I can drizzle. That's a pretty icing. All right, so we're gonna let this sit until we can do the cookies. It says to let them dry or cool completely before adding the icing. So that's what we'll do. There they are, all done. They look really good. They smell really good. So we're gonna let these sit on this pan. It says to let them cool for 10 minutes on the sheet before transferring them to cool off. And then I'll show you what they look like once I get them. Well, I'll bring you along as I ice them. And like I said, these smell really good. So hopefully they taste as good as they smell. All right, so these cookies feel like cake. I haven't tasted them yet, obviously, but I'm going to drizzle these with icing. Oh, they look so good. And then we're gonna taste test them and see if we like them or not. My husband's a huge, Adam, yeah, he's a huge oatmeal cookie person. So I'm wondering if these would be something he would like. He loves butterscotch oatmeal. Those are his favorite. These are very cute. They smell, like I said, this house, it smells like straight up pumpkin spice fall heaven. All right. Do you let these cool a bit, or do you let them harden, or are they good? All right, I'm gonna let them sit for a bit and see if they harden. It does say let these sit for 10 minutes, so I'm gonna let these sit and get hardened and get my ingredients ready for the cherry crumb bars that I'm gonna make next. Okay, here they are all hardened and the icing looks great. Still a little bit gooey, but I'm gonna taste it. Oh yeah, those are so good. It's very, you can see that it's very bready, but it's so good. So, yep, these are a keeper. All right, we're gonna move on to the cherry crumb bars now. All right, so the first thing we need, it has a recipe for making your cherry pie filling, but I have this can that I need to use, so I'm gonna use this. But to make this shortbread and crumb topping, it says to whisk together all the dry ingredients, which is a 1 3/4 cup of flour, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 2. Okay. Then 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. 1, 2, 3. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Once again, I'm gonna not put so much in because I'm using butter to bind this together. So I'm just gonna go pinch, and then a tablespoon of brown sugar. That. And let's see, make sure I got everything. So I got flour, sugar, cornstarch. Yep. Oh, it says to it says to leave this out. I didn't read that. All right, so we're gonna just put this aside, and then you're going to get the butter drizzled in. She said she used, the person that made this says they use a fork for that, so I'm not left-handed, but I'm going to try to do this left-handed. Says to whisk this in, that it should be crumbly. So after I get this mixed, I'm gonna press this in to my 8x8 lined pan, half of it. It says a little more than half, so I'm gonna guesstimate that once I get there. But yeah, it says to press that in, and then I guess we make the topping with what's left over. So once I get it pressed into the pan, after this is mixed, I'm gonna bake it for 15 to 20 minutes. So it says to leave the parchment paper like over the edge a little bit. I don't like my parchment paper that much. So I'm gonna get this a little bit more than half, it says, pressed into the bottom of this. And you just push in like this. And now this is pressed in to the pan. I'm gonna bake it for 15 to 20 minutes. It says until the top looks set. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna find out. All right, now I can add the 1 tablespoon of brown sugar to what's left in here, and you mix this together. So after this shortbread comes out, you top it with the cherry pie filling, and then I guess let me see. Yeah, you crumble this on top of the cherry pie filling and the shortbread after it comes out to make its like little, the crumb topping. So that sounds delicious. So yeah, that's it. You mix that in, and then when that comes out, we put the cherry pie on top. Cherry pie filling on top. We'll add this on top of that. All right, so I'm gonna take these out. It says to leave the oven preheated, and carefully, because the pan is very hot, put this cherry pie filling on top. All right, then you take the topping and you crumble it on like so. All right, now this guy goes back in the oven for 25 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, while that bakes, because it's got a long time to bake, and it says it has to sit for like 3 to 4 hours, or yeah, 3 to 4 hours till it can be cut into. I'm going to get this, it says small batch cinnamon swirl pumpkin bread. I already sprayed my 2 little loaf pans with oil, and it says to get the wet ingredients in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is add my egg to the bowl. You need a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of pumpkin, canned pumpkin, a 1/4 cup of oil. I use vegetable oil. And then a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to eyeball it. Okay. And then you whisk this together. Okay, now it says to add the dry ingredients on top of this. So you need 3/4 of a cup of flour, there you go. And then baking powder, you need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. An 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, which is like 1/2 of this little guy. And then a teaspoon of pumpkin spice. And then a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Then you just mix this together. So it says to spoon even amounts of this batter into these pans. Okay, and then you mix a tablespoon of sugar with a 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And it says to do 2 to 3 tablespoons. So for every tablespoon of sugar, you do 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I got a little over 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then you just sprinkle this over the top. Generously, it says. Generously. So I'm gonna do it generously. I think that's good. Get a sugar coma. Okay. And then it says to take a toothpick and you swirl it like this through. Like this. Then these will bake at 350 for 28 to 30 minutes, and I'll do that after the cherry crumble comes out. That is what the cherry crumble looks like, all done. I hope it's done. And I'm gonna let this cool for several hours, and now I'm gonna get these pumpkin loaves into the oven, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. So here's the final product. We got 2 loaves of the pumpkin bread, pumpkin oatmeal cookies, the pumpkin pie twists, which are so good, and the cherry crumb bars. I don't know what these 2 taste like yet, but I'm sure they're delicious. So if you like these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. I am so excited for fall, and these made our house smell so good. We're just grateful for all of you being here and all the people that have subscribed in the past 2 months. We are just super happy and grateful for all that you do to support our channel. And yeah, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.